I'm just gotta love the robot. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good.
How are you?
Oh, great. Hey, I don't know if she can hear me, but Doriana, that image is striking, and I need one of those for my face replacement for when my face is not on because it's so
Okay, I can do that.
it's like you're so, can I just compliment you because you're so good at colors. Like you just like so understand colors and how they interact together and what makes them pop, and it just it's just eye candy. You could just like throw paint down on a palette and be like, these are the colors, and I'd be like, it's a masterpiece.
Thank you. I'm crying.
No, I'm serious. I love it. But I'm biased to my own color preferences, so everybody else compliment her so she knows I'm serious.
She's serious. No, I've just been looking at all your work. It's like everyone on the design team. It's just so cool to see how different we all are, but just like it's just really fun. You all are amazing.
Hi guys, I just want you to know that I'm multitasking and I'm taking a few bites for fuel because, as it turns out, it's important to eat throughout the day. And with back to back, this is life. Can I see your mug, Julie?
Oh, yes.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Isn't it cute?
Mm-hmm. It's so cute.
Know.
Okay, guys. So how many? 2, 4, 6. We're waiting on 2 people. Oh, maybe. Are we, Alina? Did they say they could?
I think Myra has not accepted. Let me just quickly check.
It surprises me because she. Did you talk to her?
I did. I think she hasn't accepted because something went wrong with the invite. I've just emailed her to make sure that she's received it. Like not just, but like about 15 minutes ago. So I have emailed her to make sure she's received it. But have we got everyone else? We're missing Leanne. Leanne here. Let me just see. No, we're missing Leanne. Leanne has accepted.
Okay. Well, I'll give her a couple of minutes. Let me ask everybody how their week has been. I'll put you on the spot. Vanessa, what was the highlight of your week?
Oh gosh, it was a really busy week, so it's gone by in a blur.
This week was like I don't know, do you guys feel this way? Because I didn't think about it, but Laura was like, wow, this week has been so long. And I was like, yes. It's like, it's not something to be so agreeable about, but in that moment I was like, it has. It's been the longest week. Not in a bad way. It's just like so, well, you said a blur, but it's just been so multifaceted, just like this week.
I feel like I've done so much, yet nothing at all.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, no, it's so true. Oh gosh, I have been doing this deep dive into kind of like streamlining and restructuring, which I'm excited to, as we get into stuff, chat with you about like your own structures. As soon as they get in here, let me just write myself a cute little note. Okay. We will go over, but it's, just for efficient workflows and actually producing scalable results on anything that you're doing. So it's always good to revisit that as we do our entrepreneurial endeavors. Okay, Shannon, tell me about your week. Tell everybody how your week was.
Well, I don't know. It was kind of a blur as well. I'm not sure. Because
you guys, You're
I
not
know.
sure how your own week went.
No, because like so much happened yet still nothing.
Hmm.
And honestly, some days I don't know which day it is.
Yeah,
It's just like wake up, do what I have to do,
I
go
know.
to
It's like
sleep,
when you get on
get
that,
back up.
like
So that's
that
currently how my week is going.
when we get on the like autopilot of our, when we are subjects to our own calendars.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, okay, this is really cheesy, okay, but I want you guys to just think, maybe it's that one thing that pops up, like you might say like that's so stupid, but maybe it's gonna pop up in 4 days and then you have this thought and you're like, oh, but remember, okay, check it out. Regardless of circumstance, this is so stupid, and like I shouldn't be tying it into this, but I'm going to, because any opportunity I will. Whatever circumstance happens, whether it be you wake up late today and it's your first kickoff to a very important meeting with very important people, and you have to run downstairs wearing your very, very oversized shirt. Not this one, I know this is oversized too. And no bra and no makeup, like just basically disheveled as all heck. And then you have to turn on the camera unmedicated. I just want to say that we have the ability to respond to our external vulnerabilities however we choose to. So could that have been a hot mess? Fully 100%. Could I have maybe canceled and said that there was some like big stuff going on, or like reset? Like I could have done so many things, but I showed up and I looked very like I definitely just rolled out of bed late. But it was a really good meeting. It was like so good, in fact, that I am buzzing into this meeting still looking almost as good, but I did put a bra on and I did brush my teeth. So you're welcome. But I'm just saying, just when you need it, remember that I have the ability to respond to my external vulnerabilities in a way of my choosing. Eh? Just a little pause button. How cute. Okay. Last of that. You guys, come on. That's how it's a DBT thing. Yeah.
It reminds me of a Viktor Frankl quote. It's like between stimulus and response is an opportunity to take a pause and choose your response. It's the quote is more profound and better said than that, but it's something like that.
No, I love that though, because like I think that I'm trying not to throw in, okay, I guess now I have to, but the ADHD thing, everybody's buzzing about, oh, it's the ADHD, or oh, I have ADHD. Everyone's self-diagnosing they have ADHD because we live in a society that we are on screens all the time and blah, 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 blah. And then those of us who have ADHD are like, but I'm not going to bring that in right now. My point is, with all the stimulus that we have, it's so easy to be impulsive with our reactions. But notice that I said reactions, not responses. Ooh, mind blowing.
I have the whole quote. It's really good.
Okay.
Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom.
I love this.
Viktor Frankl.
Yeah. Don't you guys feel empowered for the rest of the weekend? You're welcome. That's all our call is. I'm just kidding. Really, Kelly is the one that put that more articulate.
It's Viktor Frankl. And Google.
Okay. I'm not gonna wait anymore. So good job us for trying. I wanted to let you know that Nicole will not be on design team anymore. Don't worry, nothing went wrong. It was just her level of ability, what she was able to produce right now in her current space and time, and she just didn't realize that she didn't have the capacity that she thought she did. So we love Nicole. Send her all of our love and let her know that she's welcome to hang out anytime. That's all about that. Just as an update in case you were on the page and saw that she disappeared. We still love her. Nothing's weird. Not that I would tell you otherwise. Just kidding. So what I wanted to tell you though is, first of all, in about a month after you guys have been in this cycle for a minute, I know it's kind of weird because you're just jumping in, but first of all, I'm going to say that everything that I have seen so far, I know Alina's seen more than I have, but everything that I have seen so far has been like very engaging, and the response has been wonderful. So that's like an instant win, which isn't always predictable. So awesome. That's really exciting. Everything looks really good. Other than what Alina has given you guys as notes, I'm only seeing final polished products. So I'm like, everything's beautiful, So I don't know what has been worked on behind the scenes, but what I want to do is once you guys have like 2, maybe 3 would be ideal. Although 2, I think that 2 is workable too. I want to jump on one-on-one calls with everybody because I want to give you guys kind of a deep dive. It's essentially going to be like what I could easily just tell all of you at once. But I think that like our level of understanding certain things and tweaks and how we can apply something that like is in direct response to our own work, it's just easier to comprehend in the way of like, hey, let's build this and make it as valuable as we possibly can. Plus I like to geek out about that kind of stuff, and I know it will help you both in this, but mostly, both in this and in your own endeavors. And that's my whole goal. From the very beginning, you can ask my very first assistant ever, Savina, who's thriving right now, is that my goal is your success. It sounds so cheesy, but I really want that. It's like literally what like I'm a nerd about. So it's like an ego thing. Like if I can somehow have had any sort of impact in success outside of myself, then I can just be like over here, like, yeah. Just
I'm gonna go into a brief story time that's
okay,
semi-related to this, so that your ego can be just pumped up a little more. So when I first moved to Texas like 5 years ago, I hated life. I just failed the bar for the 3rd time, and I like was writing in my journal, and I was like, all I want to do is become a YouTube sensation and like teach people like things that I love. So Peggy, officially, I'm declaring that you have made me a YouTube sensation. So thank you. My 5-year goal has been reached.
I saw your story, but my volume was not on. And so I was just kind of like skimming your captions. And I put that together and I laughed so hard. I meant to respond to you, but it was like, who has time to do anything? But I was but I was laughing, but I was also like, I'm proud of you because you just never know, like if you I think that if you don't try things and you don't put yourself out there and I think that a lot of people, no matter what skill level we're at, we always have some resistance against trying a thing because we fear that the result isn't going to be optimal. But like there's not going to be a result if we don't try. Like I know this is better said, and like it's just one of those like buzzy things that we all hear, and it's like, oh, motivational time, but like it's really, really like for real. And like Teresa, she's a really good example of somebody who has been very authentic in her process of like, hey, maybe this feels really uncomfortable and I'm gonna giggle my way through it, very extroverted like but like maybe it's gonna be good. And then it is, and she's like, hey, I'm gonna publicly give myself credit for this work that I did. And you know what that's doing is it's building, it's storytelling, it's relating to the people that are invested in her, and then it's going to just make her I don't want to call them audience, like it's not really, I mean, there's not a good word for following her audience, but it's making her people that are invested in her that much more solid and loyal, which is it's exciting to put ourselves in a space of relatability and connectivity. So I applaud you for that. I do. Okay, guys. So this is more of like a general like check-in after this first round has gone through. I want to make sure all of you got your first round of supplies that went out. I think that Laura just sent the next batch out. And Alina should have gotten digital products over, did you? Okay, cool.
Yes, I just did. I just finished.
Amazing. So, but mostly I wanted to check in with everybody, and it's okay if you have something that you're like, I don't know, maybe I should wait for a one-on-one. No, don't, because you might have a question that somebody else has, or you might have like a, oh, I was working through this structure and I'm not quite clear on X. So, I know that it might be hard to be put on the spot to say, hey, do you guys have any questions? But like for real, even if it's something you're not sure that you have a question of, like, do you have any questions about where we're at? And yeah, perfect. Oh, good.
I have 100 questions.
Okay, I love it.
Because I haven't, because I'm last because I had to leave the last Zoom. So I'm like, now I'm watching everybody's. And I'm like, oh, I like how Kelly did hers. And I was like, oh, she didn't like, because I'm nervous for like the, hey, it's my face.
Yeah.
Freaks me out. But I like how Kelly did hers. But then the next one, whose was next? Who's
Dorian?
I don't remember. Was yours next? But then I'm like, oh my God, look how cute she is. And I'm like, I love that. Do you have a preference? Like, have you gotten feedback? Do you know what's good? Either, both,
yeah. So
whatever.
I'm gonna like give you so much help right here. Okay, it's actually no help at all, but it's so much help in the sense of like literally your approach of how you feel comfortable showing up is the right way. So because it's like, you know, there are very successful like instructors in this space who have never shown their face on camera. It's just a thing. Like, and they're very successful and people relate to them and it's still just as great. There's a little mystery there for people like me who want an instant connection. I'm like, okay, but come on, Yasmina. She would be okay with me saying that. But she's like, I've never seen your face. I've only seen one picture of you ever. And this is the same one that exists everywhere. She's really sweet. But anyway, no, so you don't have to, but at the same time, so this is actually interesting. I'm sad Leanne isn't in here, but I was just talking to her and she was having that struggle of like, she had seen Kelly's and also seen like her blog post, and she was really trying to figure out how to apply like the same kind of brevity, if you will, that I coached Kelly on to her own, which wouldn't have applied and in the same way. And so I want you guys to understand, like, so you can approach it however feels natural to you. I'm really chatty when I talk in tutorials. Like, I'm just chatty. I make a lot of really dumb jokes. Like, what you see is what you get literally anywhere that you ever see me. So I just want that for you. I want you to just be organically you. It's not a good straightforward answer, but out of everything that I've ever done, I mean, yeah, if you're looking for, you know, moving into the online course world, I will say there's not a specific recipe for success there, if that's what you're wondering. And if there's a specific preference for what we're looking for, no. The idea is just that like nothing in text form is too wordy. Because you don't want to confuse people, but it's still infused with personality, you know? And I also just want to make a little call out. I want to put everything on the spot here because Alina and I had our first fight. I'm just kidding. But she so there was shoot. I'm not going to say who it was because I don't want to like spotlight anybody because it's not that big of a deal. But there was a video that came in that was like 6-ish minutes long. And she was like, okay, but in the thing you said 10 minutes. And I was like, yeah, but for this topic, like, it's okay. And she was like, yeah, but you said, but you said 6 minutes or 10 minutes. And that's not, you know, so she's going back and forth. I'm like, but this particular topic is really like, that's what it is. Like, if you dragged that on, it wouldn't make sense to try to reach 10 minutes, you know? I'm using it as an example for a reason. And then she was like, okay, but that's not fair to everybody else. And I was like, you have a good point here. This is a great point. Okay. But I was talking to her and I was like, when I was texting you back and forth about that, I was just like, I'm outside in the sun. I don't care. I don't care if it was 2 minutes long. But here's what I want to say is like that kind of structure, you guys. Yes, it's laid out in an agreement that says from, what does it say? 10 to 30, 10 to 20?
Yeah, 10 to 30.
10 to 30. I don't even know what it says. That's how much I care more about the content, if that makes sense. This is a guideline. Yes, most things it would be ideal if it stuck in between there because you're giving your viewers enough to like actually sit down and work through something with you, which gets them invested, which is great. But please don't think, oh, my video is only 8 minutes and 58 seconds. How do I need to fluff this up? Oh, I need to re-record. Yeah.
Mine was 39 minutes.
Yeah. So
and I'm like, what? 10 to 30.
No, you definitely don't have to. You guys, if you want to make a whole course, I don't care. That's so funny. Wait, I have a question for who here is on Skillshare?
I am.
Vanessa and Kelly. Okay. As we work through this, I want to, or who has an online course. I shouldn't just make this about Skillshare. Okay. Here's why. I want to talk to you guys about this because this is an exciting thing. So as you work through these more, I only say it because Doriana has the perfect, okay. On Skillshare or on online classes like that are bite-sized, those types of classes are perfect for places like Skillshare because they are project-based. You're probably going over, you know, fundamental stuff and then building and walking people through things. And it's a really good outlet to make, you know, grow your audience. I have so many people who found me through Skillshare. Like, I don't know who they are because it's not trackable, which is one of the crappy things.
Me.
I'm one of them.
Right? So,
I'm one of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, they're bite size. Like my best classes are 40 minutes. Like that's the number. I just, when you say 39, I'm like, ooh, this is opportunity. This is an opportunity. But anyway, don't think about that too hard, but just like plant it because during our like one-on-ones, I will help you. This stuff gives me life. Like if it's of interest to you, I will help you take what you've been doing and redistribute it into a structure that will work. You guys, I am nerding out because right now I'm working on a very robust 12-week program on advanced course creation. And so I'm just like, this is easy. This is like, oh, I want to, I want to jump in with you right now. I get really passionate about teaching. So anyway, Alina's sitting here like rolling her eyes in the back of her head because she's like, oh, because you need more to do. Right. Okay. Oh, because you just need to add those to your.
Didn't say that, Peggy.
Listen, I don't know what it is, but the sunshine is making me feel like I'm in a constant manic state because I'm just like I'm so energetic. I'm like, I have so much energy. I just want to spread it to the, anyway, I'm so motivated and I'm so productive and I'm like, who is it? Oh, no, I wonder if it's, okay. So I'm prescribed one of those fatty vitamin D pills that I take, or, vitamin D, with the prescription one that you take once a week. are you supposed to stop taking that when the sun comes out, when it's summer? I live in the Pacific Northwest and it's always gray, and I've been taking it to sustain because I get like real down in the dumpies. Anyway, and I've been outside, working outside every day, and I wonder if I'm like doubling the dose, if in a way. I should talk to my doctor. I'm really liking this version of me. Oh my gosh. Anyway, okay.
Okay, seriously though, but if the worst thing is that extra vitamin D is making you happy, like just
right?
Yeah, like there are worse things.
Yeah,
you don't
like,
drink.
I don't get tired. I don't get tired. Like I'm good, and I go to bed at like, you know, midnight 1, and then I wake up at 7 or 8, and I'm like, that's not enough sleep, but I'm like, yeah, let's go. Like, no. It's like, can you imagine if it's like, what's your drug of choice? Vitamin D, thank you. Don't do drugs. Okay. Great. So I just wanted to say that, no, don't be like, oh, I went over on minutes. Oh, I went under on minutes. Just please use that as a framework. The idea is that you are doing yourself and your viewer what's the opposite of a disservice? Not a service, but like
a service.
Yeah, but like a good, like a
favor.
Elevate it. Huh?
Giving them a gift.
It's basically just like giving them the experience that you would want to have. So who has filmed already, whether it's been published or it's in workings? And how do you guys feel? And I want you to talk about it collectively so that everybody can like have, you know, like you might say something that someone else didn't think about and it triggers something in them. So Vanessa, this is something you do all the time.
Yeah.
I would love to hear your experience on the way that you formulate tutorials versus the way that you formulate your classes, and why you don't have to, because you know this, why you don't have to focus so deeply on the structural part of it in a tutorial, and how those can be so much lighter and so much less pressure, and also a good invitation for traffic.
When I first started filming tutorials, I was like really structured, and it was so awkward. It was so bad. I was like, so first we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna do this. And I would look at the outcome like, this is just not working for me. Mm-hmm. So in my head, I turned on my camera and I pretended that it wasn't there. And I just painted. Yep. And I found that talking while painting wasn't conducive to the way that I work. Right. So I always do voiceovers at the end of it. So I just sit there as if it's just a regular day for me, just painting. You know, if I have like a glass of, you know, wine or something next to me, I'll do that. But I just film it as if it's just me, just, you know, painting on a regular day. And then I have to get in the headspace to actually sit down and like edit and do a voiceover. That's a little bit more difficult for me. But I think once you kind of get into the groove of it and just explaining it as if someone were standing next to you and just saying, you know, this is what I'm doing and this is why I'm doing it. You know, and I have people like imaginary questions in my head. Well, you know, how do you do this? And I'm like, okay, well, this is how I do this. It's a weird process.
So no, it is. I'm going to touch on that. That triggers something. So for me, I feel so self-conscious when there's dead air. Like, so if I'm not constantly talking, which is probably why you hear me just vomiting words all the time, is because I feel really uncomfortable when there's dead space. It just makes me feel like I'm being judged or criticized, or like, just like somebody's waiting, like they're waiting on me in some way. And that pressure, I hate that pressure. But what I will say is, think about when you watch something from somebody else and you're walking through it and you're learning. When there's dead space, all you're doing is concentrating on what it is that they're doing on paper. So I don't want you guys to feel like that space, if you do edits or something like that, you don't need to. I'm really bad. And if there's like a huge chunk of time, or like, this is what triggers in my mind. I try to edit my videos at a minimum, and that's not for authenticity reasons. It's because I'm lazy. It's like, no, I'm not lazy. I'm impatient. I don't want to do the work. But if I catch myself going into like the 30-second mark, I make a mental decision of, am I going to finish this part? Do I want to go through this entire part and then speed it up so I don't have to talk? And that is that's also an impatient thing, or like a less pressure thing. And I'm like, okay, I'm making a conscious decision right now. I can talk to the dogs. I can do whatever I want because I'm going to end up, speeding this up and calling it good. But then in that like 30-ish second mark, I'm like, now you can feel it, like now's the time to pick up. And even if it's just like so you can see that what I'm doing, and you just re-emphasize something that you've already said, because think about how many times that we need to hear something before it really clicks. So if you're going through a process, and oftentimes what happens is like tutorials can't be step after step after step, because one of those steps is very long because you have to build up whatever it is that you're doing. It's not just like a small portion of a project, it's the whole project. And then there's this lull of time that's like, oh, I'm still doing this. People don't care. They're like so in it with you. I promise. It feels really strange, but that's one of the first things in the top teachers group. Like we have quarterly like really long quarterly like deep dives with all the teachers. And I remember one of the very first ones was it stands out so much, is that they were really like emphasizing that you don't have to speed up that time. And I was just like, yeah, right. And then, but what it did was it made me more aware when I was watching classes or tutorials, and what that felt like to me as a viewer. And I was like, oh, they were right. Like, it really doesn't feel strange. Like, and if somebody really, really wants to, they can just scrub to the next part. But most of the time you have somebody,
one of the feedback that I got when I first started doing my Skillshare class, and that's something that I never ever thought about. I just kind of did my Skillshare class as if I were taking a Skillshare class, and I never really clicked in my head that it would aggravate me a little bit, right? If someone was like, now do this, and then they sped through it, and I'm like, but wait, like I'm trying to do it too. And I never consciously did that. In like when I did my Skillshare class, I never consciously sat down and said, okay, I'm just going to let it play out and not speed it through. But that's what I did. And I got a lot of feedback from a lot of people saying, I'm so happy you didn't do that, because it bothers me when you speed through something and you're trying to teach it to me. And I was like, I never thought about that.
What that's doing is two things. One, it's making it so that they have to press pause. I got you, Julie and Teresa. It's making it so they have to press pause or return to it and then be less engaged with you. Or two, press pause, do the thing, do it in a way that they're not happy with because they didn't really get to visually see the structure, and then get distracted and walk away because they're not engaged with you anymore. There's two negatives, but also, yeah, exactly what you're saying, Julie.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff that I do will be like layered, like watercolor. So there will be a whole layer of watercolor that needs to be completely dried before the next step.
Yeah.
Do any of you have a suggestion? Walk them through it? And then, do we suggest that they pause it and come back in 20 minutes? I know I'm being a little too precious with my video, because I'm like, I want to plan it all out. But I don't know, like Vanessa was saying, I don't want them to be like, well, what do I do now? And also I don't want to, because I will get awkward and I'll be like, this is the perfect time for like my stand-up act. Sorry.
Yeah. I know. I was gonna make a joke about that, but you just went into it. So oh my gosh, that's good. I just am very visual, so I'm just picturing all of this. No, that is a really good question, because that is a tricky thing, especially if you're reliant on the medium. So what I would do at that point is it's an opportunity to, as you're finishing up, explain, you know, there's some drying time here, depending on your climate where you live in the world. It might be faster than mine or slower than mine. So for that reason, I'm just going to do a really beautiful transition here into when it becomes dry, and I'll see you as soon as yours is, something along those lines. And then I would just do a cross dissolve. Or you don't have to be that fancy, but it's not fancy, you guys. It's like it's a very standard. Oh, how does everyone feel with video editing? Are you guys all up to par there? Do you feel confident with it? Can I help in any way? Would it help you if we got on a call soon and I did a walkthrough of like basic edits?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm totally into that idea. What I want to know also is, Teresa, I'm getting to your question, and I'm going to go there before I get too off topic. What was your question?
During the long pauses, do you suggest just like leaving it silent or like adding music, or what is your?
So, okay, two things. Music's great. Choose your music wisely.
Right, yeah, copyright.
So, well, it's not about copyright. It is 100% about copyright and royalty free, but it's actually vibe that you are giving to people. So, the lighter and the more, like, you just don't want it distracting. You want it very low. If you add music, I usually do an input of minus well, if you're using Premiere Pro, which I'm sure that many of you are not, I don't know if it would be the same structure, but I basically turn the music down minus 18 for gain. So it's very low. But it's incredible how distracting music can be. So just make sure it's very low, very light, very like pleasing. There's not a whole lot to it. It's just like a bend sound kind of thing. Bend sound, I know it's used over and over and over and over and over, but honestly, like, you can't fight with royalty-free bend sound. It's so good. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's
There's also a whole section on YouTube. If you go into like a creator studio, that they have like a little link at the bottom, and they have a ton of free music that you can just download and put on your videos.
Can download it directly. Also, if you're creating your own videos and you're in your creator studio, you can apply whatever music that you choose and then choose the clip in the video that you want it played. And then you can adjust the sound just directly in YouTube, which is like something that is so helpful, just as an FYI. But for us, you can go into their music and then just download directly. It's so nice because then you don't have to like be sitting there searching royalty-free music and then not understanding where the credits go and all that stuff. Okay. Oh, and then the other thing, Teresa, and what I've been doing more of, just because it started with like, how much time do I really have to post produce? Okay. So it depends on where you're at. Like, you might have your kids, you just never know what your schedule looks like. How can we best like make our quality work with less time put into it? So personally, I'm a learner. I like to dive in and learn all the possible things that I can do to make the best quality possible, and then choose not to do that. That's like my jam. That's what I enjoy doing. I know I could do this, but and what happens is when I find that lull, it's like what I was saying, where like I can feel that it's been a minute. And so that's when I just re-emphasize something I said earlier and how I'm applying it now. And it can just be like 45 seconds of you explaining that, and then have another lull, because what's happening is it's not a lull to the viewer. And then once you feel that come on again and you're like, okay, so if I was, I should say something, it's not really like that. It starts getting really organic, and it could just be like, so you can see I'm just continuing even more. And some of the ways that my mind is thinking about this, if you want a little bird's eye view, is here's why I'm choosing this angle, or here's why I choose this mark making, and you don't have to go this route. This is an aesthetic choice for me. Like, just whatever you want to say. It's basically giving people re-emphasization. It's not a word, of what it is that you're doing over and over, so that it's in their head. It's not going to be a bad thing to repeat yourself. in a different way or the same way. But then also giving people kind of a sneak peek inside of your own process, because that's something that I think a lot of artists don't remember to do. And it's so helpful to be able to kind of like peel the curtain back and understand the inner workings of somebody's mind. And that's one of the things that I've gotten a lot of feedback from, especially from lives, because that's when you're really put on the spot, where somebody's like, oh my gosh, thank you for explaining this. It's actually really helpful to get to see like exactly how and why you're thinking about your creative choices. Because that's another thing that you can emphasize when you are teaching is like, hey, I'm doing it this way, but here's another option. And this is why I'm making this creative choice as I'm approaching this project. And there are so many different ways that you can interpret this and make it your own. Here's why I'm doing it this way. Here's my thought process around it. And this is an aesthetic choice. You could say aesthetic choice. This is like personal preference of what I like things to turn out for. It could be because you like the way a medium feels. It could be because you like the results. It could be because you enjoy the process of it. It might not even have the end result that you're getting to. It's like, this is why I like to do it this way. It's not always about end result. It could very well be with like, I love using texture brushes in Procreate. Like I love the buildup of them. I love the process of them. I love seeing that happen. Or gouache. I love painting with gouache. Could I get similar, like a really, really rad, awesome final result in watercolor? For sure. But I'm teaching it with gouache today. You could choose watercolor, you could choose acrylic. I'm choosing gouache just because I feel like using this creamy, opaque consistency, and that's where I'm at, which is also encouraging people to create for the sake of creating, rather than the finished result. So there's a lot of different ways that you can unmute essentially those areas of silence. And it's just talking people through it. You know, it's basically just nerding out with your viewers, which is also in turn allowing you to connect with them and to relate with them. Does that answer that?
Yes.
Cool.
I have a follow-up question.
Okay.
So I want to be type A. And so when I write a blog post, it's very like, this is what you do. And Alina was like, you need more personality. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know how to add that into text.
Let me just clarify.
I have that problem
you
too.
should add more of your personality, because we all know that you have a big personality and you were holding back on it.
I don't know.
So I'm not telling you that you don't have personality. Don't say that.
Okay, I just want to say something real quick. I don't know how many of you are comparing what you're doing to Kelly's, because Kelly's was first. And I want you to know that Kelly is very good at pouring little bits of like, because it's fun, you know, or I like this because it does, you know, she's good at that. I know that her recent blog post was very, I mean, I don't know this, Kelly, because I haven't talked to you, but I'm assuming it was very focused on how you could create brevity out of a ton of information so that it was direct. Now, I haven't been able to give you feedback, but I'm going to do it in a group setting so that it applies to everybody. So the reason why that happened is because you want it to be clear for sure. Something I did talk to Kelly about was, you guys, she taught 4 different gifts in one blog post. 4. What? And she knows this. Great.
Don't do it.
But that's 4 different pieces of content. That's 4 different pieces of content. So I just want you to know that when you have big picture, think about how you can then take the thing and basically spread it as far as you can take it, because it's going to be just as valuable if those were standalone pieces of content. I actually told her what she can do, because I know she creates this kind of stuff a lot. You can literally copy and paste each of those 4 segments, beef them up with more words, and just create different graphics to go with them and recycle that content. Because recycling content, stretching out a bigger idea, like that's the kind of stuff that's going to make it so that you can continue doing the stuff that you love without burnout. Because both her blog posts, even though this one was focused on brevity more, they're so robust and they just have so much packed into them, which is it's awesome. And she's used to, like, Kelly has classes, like she has 4 full classes. So what I want to work on with her specifically is being able to create bite-sized pieces of content that will be almost like a tease, that's going to give people an outcome right away, but also leave them wanting to dive in deeper. And so when you give too much away, then it doesn't really, I mean, it totally does. Of course, you would want to then dive in even deeper and do more. But think about if it was less than that and you have the hook before any other content, and then you can lead them to your platform of some kind, whether it be your classes, whether it be like, ebooks or whatever it is that you want to produce, it will help a lot. So the balance there is to maybe have one focus, Leon's here, to have one focus, and instead of keeping that like so brief and straight to the point, Teresa, infusing some of that of your own personality in there could just be as easy as like, but like you could say, whatever step, but let's be real. If you want to cut corners and do blah, 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 I totally get it, because, and then you could have like a personal example, and then a haha, or it doesn't have to always be a joke. It could be basically little pieces of your thoughts, or a quick story, or like, but the other day I did this, so let's, or it could be something like, I chose this topic. I would wait though, before you go into any personal stuff, because people want to get hooked on the tutorial, they start doing it, and then they start to hear that infusion of, this is a meaningful topic to me, and I chose this one because I'm able to then produce X with it. So for example, I did a collage on Procreate class, and I taught the structure of it, but then in the middle of the class, I showed another example of collage, and it was just a hyperlapse of the replay on Procreate, showing how I built a collage just specifically to celebrate my mom's life after she had passed. And so I just played that and I just talked. And that's not what you would do, obviously, in a text tutorial, but it's in a way that you can infuse something that's relatable, something that prompts connection. And then what it's in turn doing is allowing people to get a kind of basically giving them ideas automatically without them trying, of, oh, I could totally apply this in this way. This is how I can make this more meaningful in my own process. So like Doriana's tutorial was gorgeous, and it was like something that people were able to kind of make their own in the way that they wanted to. It was a vase with flowers in Procreate, and then people rendered that in different ways, which was so much fun. But and you can choose something, let's say something does hit a little deeper for you, just mention why. It doesn't have to be a story. It can just be like, this was a really great way, or here's an example of another project that I did based off of this. And the reason why I like it so much is because it reminds me of my favorite vacation spot on the coast that we visit every year. And it's like something like that. It also doesn't have to be an example. It can be just a quick sentence. Alina, what's a good example of our blog? Because you do a really good job. She takes mine. She takes my video content and she writes my blogs for me because she knows my voice. What's a good example of how you've been able to integrate my chaotic talking into the blog posts?
I just think of how you would, if it were you writing it, kind of, it's a bit difficult to explain, but it's like trying to introduce your voice into it and using phrases like,
I'm
for
trying-
example, I have the urban sketching tutorial open now. When one of the things I put in here, like, I promise you, you will have so much fun, and so much fun is capitalized. You won't be able to stop sketching. It's just kind of thinking of the things that you would say, and it could be literally little words here and there
that you like put in caps.
Making it more, or italic. So you can do like a little segue here and there. Or
like,
it's essentially, it's not,
instead of like you have your intro and then it's like, so let's get started. Instead of so let's get started, it's like, let me break this down for you. Or like, okay, I'll stop talking now. Like whatever your personality is, like those little types of things.
Yeah, basically, if you think of it like literally as if you were talking, but in written form.
Yeah, like this, so, I have a one that's like, this brush pack, like you're talking, and then this brush pack truly is just so magical. I can't even, or that's just me though. Just stuff like that. Okay. And that's just going to come as you go, and we'll give you feedback, of course. And when I say we, I mean Alina. But okay, so recap real quick. Not a recap, a segue. Nope. Follow up on video editing so I don't stray too far away from that, because I did promise. Okay, I just want to get, and if you guys don't edit your videos, I'm not judging at all. Like, I don't care, because I've done many a tutorial that are one takes, and I think that they're great. I think that you should take pressure off video editing software. I think that you should take the pressure off of needing to video edit. Of course, polish looks great, but these are tutorials. And the thing that Leanne and I were actually just talking about this, these are not classes. These are tutorials. So think of them as something lighter. Think of them as like, you're just kind of introducing somebody into a cute thing on their Thursday afternoon. It's not so much like, I'm going to learn a trait now. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to get my notebook out. I'm going to go through this process. It's not that. It's like, we're going to sit down and play for a minute. So that being said, if you don't use video editors, I don't care. But I am going to ask everybody real quick, just so that I can better prepare for our next, or the class after. I don't know which one I'm going to do, but not class, call. Walking you through basic edits, because I will be able to articulate them easily with in all of these programs. So because one of them might be a program that you see as we walk through it, and you'll be like, oh, that actually is something I want to try instead for this XYZ feature. So I don't know if you guys are in the same order. So I'm just going to call out Teresa. What video editing software are you using?
iMovie.
Okay. Doriana.
I use Premiere.
Cool. And then Julie.
I also have iMovie, but I would love a cool one.
Okay. Cool. Wait. Okay. I'll ask a question in a minute. Shannon.
Premiere Pro.
Huh?
I use Premiere.
Cool. Oh, this is great. This is great. Vanessa.
Final Cut Pro.
Oh, that's fine.
No, that's
I'm going to be totally transparent. Luckily, you do classes and don't need this, but I actually have never used Final Cut, but I know that it's like right up there with Premiere. If not more, isn't it better than Premiere?
I have no idea. I do the absolute basic things because it's confusing to me still. And I've been using it for 2 years.
Is it a one-time charge thing?
Yes. Yeah. I got it with my computer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Well, you
Kelly.
have to like buy it with it, but
yeah.
I use Camtasia and my husband edits.
Perfect. Okay. I need to look into that more. That's one of the things that comes up in the flock a lot, that a lot of people use Camtasia. Isn't it free? But it does like
no. Well, yeah, it might have been free to start. We didn't upgrade. but yeah, he likes it. He looked at a bunch of different options and came up with
there's
that one.
a lot of people that bring that one up as like a more lean option that still does a lot of things. So I need to look into that more so that I can better prepare. I will do that. Okay. Leanne, what do you use?
The DaVinci Resolve.
Oh, that's what it is. It's DaVinci that's free, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is free.
I was confused. I hear about Camtasia and DaVinci. DaVinci is the one that was free. Okay, cool. So full transparency, I've never used Final Cut, never used Camtasia, never used DaVinci. However, the basic edits that I'm going to introduce to you, if I don't have time to dive into 3 new softwares, which I don't, but I should, what I will say is the basic edits, all you need to do is just apply that to whatever program that you're using. But I will walk through actual like keyboard shortcuts and stuff for the things that we will be using. Just know that they wouldn't apply most likely to the programs that like Camtasia and DaVinci, but the actual effects or whatever it is that you're doing, you just need to say, how do you cut or whatever, and then we can stream that together. And I'll just do like a quick maybe a 5-minute or tutorial that I can walk through with you guys. And then, let's see, I'm just gonna give you, who has Adobe CC? Does anybody have Adobe CC? So Doriana, Leanne, like, do you have the full suite or do you have, okay, if you have the full suite, Adobe Premiere Pro is included in the full suite. So Premiere is what I use, and I can help you with basic edits in Premiere, no problem, to make it like to demystify it and show you exactly kind of how I know it's like when you open Photoshop for the first time and you're like, what is all of this? And Premiere is just as tricky. Jordy something. It's like Jordy Vanda something. If you have a Skillshare membership, I watched only half of his class from like years ago on Premiere Pro, and that is what propelled me. That's the only tutorial class structure I needed to really paint a picture of what Premiere Pro looked like. So if you guys want to, those who want to use Premiere or haven't yet or do, and are on Skillshare, I like his courses should be like, I mean, they should be like $2,900. I'm not kidding. Like they are just chock full of walking you through everything. And I remember 2 of our top teacher sessions ago, we were talking about stuff, and like there was like, I don't know, like 70 something people in here. And it was just so timely that I was like, can I just do a call out real quick? Because it was on topic, but I was like, Jordy, I'm going to put Jordy in the forefront here. I've never talked to you before. I've never seen you on one of these calls, but I just want to say that you, like, when we teach things, and this was mostly to use as an example, but when we teach things, we have no idea the impact that we are making on somebody. And it can just be a little bit of instruction to facilitate tools for us that will change somebody's life. And I was like, Jordy has impacted my life based off of like an hour and a half of one of his 4-hour classes. And that's all that I watched because I have a really hard time finishing what I start. But I will say, I was just like, it's the information that we provide, we have no idea how valuable it is. We have no idea how valuable it is. And like, it's a beautiful, generous, creative space that we are in. And I just think that, like, first of all, take his class on Premiere Pro. It's going to tell you exactly what you need to know. Second of all, keep that in your mind as you're explaining something. So it doesn't even have to be the technique. It can just be the way that you present yourself. That's something you can't think about. That's just innate. That's an organic thing that comes out of you. And when you show up on video, whether it's just your hands and your voice, the way that's articulated, I don't want you to think about what that should look like. That should look like you. you know, and however that organically comes out of you. Of course, there are ways to tweak how information is structured or provided, which is something that we'll get into. But I mostly wanted to do this check-in so that you guys like, okay, you went through it once, maybe twice. Let's not get too far into it before you get into like a self-doubt place. Because I promise you, like, there's not a direct answer here, if that makes sense. You know, there's obviously ways of structuring things, but the best thing that you can do to generate traffic past your tutorials or whatever you're putting into the world, whether it be long form text, which you guys are doing, whether it be a video, which you guys are doing, whether it be recycling content, and where that can go, which we have time to go over, and I'm happy to do recycling content, which I'm happy to go over also, and how that shows up in the world, like these little bits and pieces, you know, have threads of you in them. And so like you guys, I could assign the same exact project to every one of us in here, and we're all gonna do it like completely differently. Even I could assign the same exact tools, the same exact materials, the same exact subject matter, and the same color palette. We're all gonna explain it fully differently, and that is all of that is okay.
A really fun experiment.
I was gonna say the same thing. That'll be really fun.
I know, right? I wonder logistically what that would like. It's more of like that would be more of like a homeworky thing, which it would be interesting. More so, it's interesting without tutorial based stuff though. Oh, you guys, if you want to, if you have time, I know that time is like of the, you know, most precious thing in the world, but collectively, maybe in a few months, I think a really fun idea for a design team, not talking through it at all, but if I gave you guys that like an assignment like that and you all produced it, didn't show anybody at all anything until the final result came up, like it's not a recording, it's not a tutorial, it's just to show how differently we interpret things based off of like words only. I could give you guys, yeah, like I'll make sure you have all the materials that you need for it. That sounds so fun. And then the collective blog post would be being able to identify creativity and artistry and how there's not one right way to do a thing, and then get all of your input on it. And it would be like design team, super focus on creativity and outcome, something that's way better worded than that. I like this piece of content so much. Okay, we're gonna do it. Okay, I'm writing myself notes. Same project for everyone, collective blog post for outcomes interpreted differently. I love it. I don't know how much time everybody has. I almost want to, I'm gonna ponder this and think about what materials are needed, and I'll make sure that it's a medium you all are feeling comfortable with. Maybe I won't. Maybe it'll be a challenge for everybody. Cool. You guys, I made paint for the first time. Vanessa, I don't even want to hear it. But I
made paint, is that?
Yeah, but I did it out of pigment. So like it wasn't this rock, but I've been finding pigment and then using a mortar and pestle to grind it down, and it's just pure earth pigment. And then
awesome.
So this one turned out kind of okay, but it's still really recessed inside of there, even though it was like bubbling way out. I did 2
That's how they dry sometimes.
Okay, but check out how most of them look. Like they're all crazy cracked. It's so bad. This process.
The earth pigments will crack a lot more.
Do they? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard about all the things that you're supposed to like put into it, and I'm just like, oh no. So I hate the process of paint making. I hate it.
It's so relaxing.
Oh my gosh, I hate it. It like, because you're using like a molar. Do you use a molar? Oh my gosh, like my arm, I felt, oh, that's why I couldn't
Look
figure
at that.
out,
You're working those arm muscles.
oh, I could not figure out why my left, because it's my like non-dominant arm, but my left arm muscle, I'm like, what did I do to it this last few days? I'm like, it just feels like I have this permanent dead arm, but it feels rock hard at the same time. Ew.
And you made it difficult for yourself. Earth pigments are a lot crunchier.
Oh my gosh, yeah, they are. But I have no desire to continue doing that.
Oh.
But I am really excited that I did it. I wasn't going to make them for sale. I was just mostly like, I'm so obsessed with this process of earth pigments right now, but I like getting to the powder point and then calling it a day. So if you ever want some pigment,
absolutely.
And you
will have the Peggy Dean collection.
We should do.
We absolutely should.
A collaboration that is focused on strictly earth pigments. And I will give you, I have so much pigment. I have so much.
Do you
We should do this.
I am 100% down with this. I do collaborations all the time.
Okay, let's talk about it. Alina, will you set up a call with Vanessa and me? Okay, we're gonna talk about it. It's gonna be really fun.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
I love it because I want the paint from them. I want to be able to like throw that out there. I don't even. Yeah. Okay. I love it. We can talk about logistics. Cool.
Okay.
And then everybody can get some of it, and then
yes,
that's what we'll do.
Yes.
That's what we'll do. Okay, so check it out. Check it out. Brainstorming, right? So here's what we'll do. Same project for everybody. It will be based off of not just creativity, but creating from our natural world. Oh, we're so cool. Okay. And it'll be paint related. Sorry if you guys aren't paint. It's still going to be fun. Okay. We're all creatives. We can paint a picture. And I'll come up with a topic that would be good for natural earth colors. This is going to be a process. So stay tuned. Vanessa and I will take care of logistics and it'll be fun.
I'm so excited.
Right?
Me too.
I'm so excited. I remember when we were doing the iPad class and you were talking about earth pigment and I was like, all I want is for Peggy to send me paint. And look, now it's happening.
I know. No, you guys, for like a month, I'm like, if I could just send my pigment to somebody and they can do that part and they like doing that. Ugh. I'm like, that is like, I mean, I know that getting it to the powder form is manual labor, but like mulling, if you guys don't know what that
I couldn't do the grinding part. No, that's not for me.
The mortar and pestle. See, I love it. It's bad for my wrist, but I love it. This is a molar and you put it down on like a glass surface or like a marble surface.
Yeah, that right there is my workstation and it has a glass top on top of it.
Yeah.
And I just stand and mull all day long.
Yeah. So basically you're taking pigment and some of it's super fine. Some of it is like a little bit thicker, but if you think about sand and how it's not sand, it's not, but think about granules, how some are super, super fine and some are a little chunkier. So whatever that is, you get it fine as like fine as you can make it. And then you go to this step and you mix it with a binder and you just sit there mulling it. And this has like it feels really smooth, but apparently it's textured and it's going to help it. Forget it. But Vanessa loves doing that. So.
I do it all day long, every single day.
Yeah, I could see how it would be meditative, but like, I'm not there. I'm not into. I like the part where I'm like grinding. Okay, we don't want to talk about that anymore. We have a fun project coming up. I'm excited. Okay, now one-on-ones. Leanne, I think you might have missed out, but I have already talked to you one-on-one about one-on-ones, but and structuring, but we kind of had that already, but I want to help people kind of like basically articulate a specific, whatever specific idea is going on and show you the different ways that you can structure that for X and then be able to also stretch that content out. I can use an example. If you guys don't mind being a case study, it would probably be more effective to get on and we don't have time to do it today, to get on and I can break that down so that you can see kind of what that looks like with an example. Oh, okay. Here's what I wanted to segue into. I love having notes. Okay, this is, now I don't want you guys to think like, oh my gosh, this is so intense. I don't know what I could possibly, like how I could possibly put myself in this terrible position. But it's not required, by the way, at all. But I want to take as many of you as are willing for one of your tutorials, and I want to go live with you. Okay, so what this would look like. Basically, I will go on with you. So you don't have to worry about dead air ever. I mean, I'll kind of be like in the background, but then I can make little comments and I can pull from the chat. So you don't have to watch the chat, and I can help ask questions and facilitate that. But the reason this is more for you so that you can be on the spot, not in a pressure way, but in a way of like, how will this flow look like if I don't have the option to edit my video afterwards? And I want you to do it before you think you're ready to, because you will be so surprised with yourself with how easy it is and how much less pressure that you feel in a live setting. They are so much more casual. You have instant engagement, which is nice, because then it's like more of a conversation, and it feels a lot more like you are sitting down with your friend and going through everything, even if you were on the spot alone. But I will go on with you, and I want to do this. I want to structure it this way. So this would be either on a YouTube or Crowdcast I use, and then stream to YouTube. And then what we'll do is that will be live before your tutorial. And then you can just take that recording. And if you feel comfortable with it, I think most of you have been screenshotting parts and then turning that into something. And then Alina can go over best practices on how to increase and make your screenshots look a lot better, to edit them, to make them nice and contrasted and bright and no shadows. Because it's harder to do that. She actually lectures me on my videos and says that they're like poor quality. And I know that. But oh, you guys, look at this. So my old setup was that desk over there was right here, and it had a bunch of stuff up. So I only had this tiny sliver, which you can see is kind of dark, but look at all that desk space I have now. So Alina, guess what? I have more.
Well, we'll see you next tutorial, Peggy. I better see some really good quality for you.
Watch them not be. I'm the worst example of anything that I coach. Okay, so I'm going to put you on the spot now, so you're in front of everybody, so that I am putting pressure on you, peer pressure. But obviously there's no judgment. Is anyone willing for their next tutorial to go on live?
Does it count if you really love going on lives?
If what?
If you really love doing lives.
No, yeah, you know what? I know I do too. They're my favorite, like my absolute favorite. And I would
rather do 10 lives than one tutorial.
Right? Vanessa, you could do lives. That would be so fun if we facilitated lives for your tutorials and then you broke those. Oh yeah, so logistic wise, you would go on live, and then you would take it's totally not like a professional way to do it, but it works really, really well and has worked for me for a long time, is to screenshot bits and pieces of how you're going to break down your blog post, enhance those photos, and then just type up a blog post around it. And then we would embed your live and just be, into your live replay, we would embed into your blog post. So it would already be live on YouTube, but then it would be new content for the blog, maybe the next round. So, yeah, that would be something so fun. Vanessa's up first. She's volunteered. You guys can tune into her live session. It's going to be incredible. They are very fun. And I'll let you know when I have lives for tutorials so that you can tune in and see kind of how I go through that. But I want you to know that, like, I'm not a great example in the sense of, like, I've been doing it for so long. I'm used to watching the chat. I'm used to multitasking. I don't want you to ever compare yourself to someone who's been doing it for a while, like Vanessa. But I just want you to experience it so that when you are creating video content for any reason, you feel less pressure to be polished.
Does that make sense? It's like diving in, learning how to drive a stick so that you can drive anything. It's my analogy for everything about my life, and I'm not a car person. But it's true. If you can learn how to drive a stick, you can drive anything. If you can go on live, you will feel so much better about your behind the scenes work because it's going to feel so much more relaxed, especially for tutorials. Is nobody willing to volunteer? Teresa.
Tomorrow.
What?
I'm going live tomorrow. I'm teaching a class on creativity, and one of the things I'm teaching is a botanical line drawing. So like I can do it with you, but I don't have a fear of going live.
You guys don't have to have a fear of going live to volunteer.
Well, then I'll do it. My biggest hang up is I don't know what to freaking teach. I know that I'm like making a big, huge deal out of it. But I don't know
so
what to
another thing that I've learned, I'm regurgitating right now with Skillshare a lot, but it's because these things have really helped me as I've moved on. Do not be afraid to teach the same thing twice, okay? In a slightly different way, with a different color palette, with a different tool. Like, don't be afraid to revisit the same subject 10 times.
Well, like my thing is like, I'm self-taught. So I learn from you and other people online. And so I'm like, well, this person already made this. So who am I to like go and then make another tutorial about something that this person already made?
What they didn't make it like Teresa.
Yeah, exactly. What can you give me? Can you give me an example of like what one of those things would be?
Yeah, so I have it here. Where'd it go? There's a cat. So like I'm recreating this Gerber daisy for my class, and then I have another one right here. And obviously like mine looks different because it's mine, but I'm like, Peggy's already taught this and I'm on Peggy's design team. And so people already know what Peggy's taught. So why
oh my gosh. Yeah, but they're not going to do it in the way that you are going. So here's the thing. This goes back to like, if I was to give everyone the same project to teach.
Yeah.
Everybody is going to deliver information differently. Everybody, like I on purpose take different workshops from different people. I watch different things because there's always one little gem that I take from each thing that I'm like, wow, I would have not thought to either deliver information in this way, or I would have never thought to apply this to my own artwork, like, or something's just going to click differently, you know? Being self-taught and then applying the practice of being self-taught are two very different things because of our experience with being self-taught, because I'm self-taught. So everything that I've learned is like, I've learned the way, but then I've learned how to cut my own corners, or I've learned how to apply my own flair or whatever. And it's no secret that for the most part, other than a few things, that none of us invented how to draw a thing or how to paint a thing. Like, for example, watercolor roses. Okay. I had somebody reach out to me and they were teaching a Skillshare class and they were really worried because they learned how to paint roses from me. But I learned how to paint roses from somebody else. It's not like painting roses is like, yeah, you start off real concentrated. You do some C curves, you apply more pressure as you go, you get more transparent as you go. Like, I didn't make that up. Nobody made that up. I'm going to teach you how to do it. You know, somebody made it up, but you know what I mean? Like, that's not proprietary. Unless like, if you're not, if you were to build something based off of like literally lifting somebody else's verbiage and exact method that's been like trademarked and coined, teach what you have learned. We teach what we learn. Most teachers, most instructors are significant learners. Most people who share information in some way are sponges. They're one of their top traits is they are learners. and I'm a learner and I'm super passionate about information that I get, and like I'll take it as much as I possibly can. But then because I'm a learner, because I get passionate about it, I want to like word vomit it from the top of a mountain and make everybody listen and like it as much as I do. But that's because I'm a sponge to it. It excites me. And so share what you've learned. And don't be afraid. And I'm not saying this necessarily about me. I'm using Dylan as a really good example. If you've ever watched her Skillshare classes, she always gives credit where credit's due, but she still teaches the thing. You know, she'll say, oh, and I learned this thing from so-and-so's class on this, which I've been able to weave into my own work. And this is how it's impacted me. And then it shows kind of like her creative thoughts behind a method, but she's still facilitating that for people to learn as well. So like if it feels icky and it feels a little too similar, just name drop. And that's okay too. People are still going to come to you to learn things because you are you, and they like receiving the, well, they like receiving the information the way that you are sharing it. So I wouldn't worry about that. I mean, some people, I actually just learned something really interesting today. And I'm not going to give you the specific scenario because it would be too obvious and then it would be like a thing. But basically, I just learned this today on my call before this. And there is somebody in the community of artists who, in the beginning, like when I first got into what I'm doing, and it was lettering, calligraphy, one of the people who was a big name in this space, if I went to her Instagram, okay, it's a girl, whatever. I mean, it doesn't give anything away. I could not see anything. It was 0 posts. There was nothing. So it wasn't like she didn't exist on Instagram. So I don't know like how that worked, because it's like, not like, was I blocked? I don't know. I don't know what it was. So she had a big course, and I had been asked about how to teach a thing where I knew that her big course was the way to point people. And this was like 2 years in, and I kind of got over myself on how I'm pretty sure I was blocked, even though we'd never had any sort of communication at all. So I was very confused, but I reached out to her and I was like, hey, so people are asking me about how to do this thing, but I know that your course is like the place that people should learn how to do it. Would you want to partner up? I can be an affiliate for you. I can take your course and then be able to recommend it to people. And then we can build this affiliate relationship, because she had already done that. And so we did. And then all of a sudden later that day, all of her posts came up. I looked it up and all of her posts were on Instagram. I was now unblocked or whatever it was. And so she then, I'm sure from my email, was realizing like, oh, I'm not a threat. Like I'm in this, whatever. So then the conversation I had today it's with like my mastermind partner. So we're transparent. I don't like talking about other people, but I did talk to her about it. And she was like, oh, you know what? I talked to her and she said that she coined a certain phrase having to do with lettering. I'm not going to say what it is because then I just don't want to make things too obvious. But I was like, okay. But then she got into it more and researched it more. And it was just a descriptive way to talk about a version of modern calligraphy. And I realized, I was like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. She probably legitimately did coin that phrase. I was super into lettering. I thought that was just a common phrase that was used. And then I built a lot of my own content based off of this type of style. So what happened was she coined something that worked really, really well and was probably really protective of her content at that time, especially when people like, who were new to the game, I mean, it was a year in, were coming in and taking that kind of stuff. But I didn't realize, I thought it was just like the same kind of term as modern calligraphy. So I was like, this is so clear to me now how this happened. That's so wild. But now we're like, I mean, now we go back and forth, like we're totally like on the same page, but it's just so interesting how that works. I don't remember my point. It was just like an interesting story, but it's just to basically know that you learned something from a person, and hopefully it's not something that's coined that you didn't realize was coined, because we never want to do something like that, but you know, innocence is bliss. And then just mention, you know, if it's something really specific, just mention like, oh, and this practice was like, or this, what really opened my eyes was this method that I heard from Blotty do, and then just explain what it was. You know, I do that all the time, and yeah.
People are gonna think that I'm a creepy stalker because it's all gonna be like, I learned this from Peggy.
No, you can just say that you're on the Pigeon Letters design team, and then it'll really flow in. One of the people that's coming on to master sessions is Brittany Louise, and we all know she works for Tombow. She's probably going to talk a lot about Tombow and Tombow's techniques and all that stuff, and it's not going to be weird because she's the social media manager for Tombow, you know, so it's okay. You're not a stalker. I know you were at my house last night and then you flew back to Texas in time for this call and you're acting like you weren't outside, but I saw you.
I put a tracking device in that package that I sent you, just so I know who you are.
Oh, you guys. I don't know if you see it. Teresa's work is right there, and it's hilarious.
No,
I'm sorry. You guys, I'm wearing sweats, but I'm going to show you. Okay. So it hasn't made it in a frame yet because I need, you know, obviously to order frames, but look at this. Teresa, talk about this.
I still remember that, and it still gives me nightmares, Teresa.
It gives me nightmares too.
We were in the vlog live, and she was like, so I tried to paint a portrait. And then all of a sudden, the screen just gets filled. And then, like,
that's Dolly Parton. Can't you tell?
We couldn't help it, and everyone was laughing so hard. I like started crying, and I was like, Teresa, I'm begging you to let me put that on my wall. And that's why she
having some of my art on Peggy's wall, and there it is.
She was like, have you checked your PO box yet? And I'm like, no. And it was like months, and I finally checked it, and I was laughing the entire time home because I'd completely forgotten about this. I just want to show you again. I'm gonna do the whatever it's called. Oh, that's nice.
Oh, Dolly.
Oh, that's nice.
She inspires all of us.
Vanessa. So that is yeah. Just know that there's some good workings coming out of that girl.
Yay. I'm so excited.
Please do a tutorial on portraits.
Can we? Well, that could be everyone's subject. Paint Dolly Parton.
Lemon. She looks
different ways.
I can laugh about it because I can't draw people for.
You have to make this before you are good. Okay, you guys. My first attempt.
That was your first attempt, right? Yeah.
Yeah. My second attempt never happened, but.
Oh man, it makes me so happy. It makes me so, I just don't think you understand. Like, it will be framed and it will be a forever, like, I'm going to probably also make sure to spray it so that it's locked in. The color is like good to go.
Find it.
Yeah.
I'll have to come over.
A masterpiece. Okay. So we're getting into time. I just am going to do a quick recap. So we are going to be going over basic edits. And you guys, when we do this is basically just going to be a deep dive kind of like mini class that you're learning the thing, but you're not required to do the thing. It's just information that's going to help you do exactly what it is that we want to do. And we learn things so that we have the knowledge, but please don't feel like you're needing to rely on video editing in a heavy way at all. Obviously there's times where it makes sense. Like if you're in the middle of filming, you're already 7 minutes in, your dog starts going crazy and won't stop because somebody's at the door. That's something different, you know? But there are times where I'll just like go through. I'm like, you're going to listen to her for a minute. I hope it's not as loud for you as it is for me. And I just go through. but you know, like you get more comfortable as you go. Don't do that. It's a little bit tacky. I'm a little bit tacky sometimes. Okay, so we're gonna go over that. We'll get more into recycling content and what that looks like. I will probably put somebody on the spot during our next call. We're gonna have more calls here in the beginning. I have a feeling we're gonna have more calls in general because it's fun and there's always some place to grow. And you guys are my priority this year especially. So I wanna be able to give you guys as much info as I can. And then let's see. So we're going to talk about how to do that effectively. I'll probably use somebody's piece of content based off of what comes in to do that as an example. Or if I work with someone, Leanne has a really good example that I might ask if I can use. Yeah. Okay.
I was just thinking that I need help right now. I'm trying to cut it down now, but yeah.
Yeah.
When would be our next call?
If you want, yeah, like if you guys want, Leanne, oh gosh, how would that work? Like if you want to sit in on one of, I don't know if that puts you like really, really, really on the spot, but basically as flies on the wall for Leanne and I when we dive into her stuff, because she really does have a really good example of basically like a tutorial that she was creating that I was like, this needs to be like it needs to be like a class. Like it's not tutorial. You can take a tiny portion of this, but so I'm helping her kind of structure that right now. But if you we can talk about what that would look like, but basically using that as an example of like exactly how we're doing what we're doing instead of it just being like, do this thing that's vague. So we'll talk about how to, I mean, if you need help now. I know.
Yeah.
We're at time. We could also just record our call and then share it with the team if you want to do that. We'll see.
When are we going to have our next meeting? I guess the next design.
That's up to you, girl. Get on my calendar. You know,
I meant like the team design.
Oh, the team. I know. I was like quarterly, and then it's like 2 weeks later. I think that ideally I want to go monthly, because I realized that I want to share a lot more with you guys than I thought that I did, and I find this to be more of like a focus group. And I think that that would be really helpful, and it also helps me to see how those be able to what's the word I'm looking for? Basically have a very small focus of what that will look like in your guys' big picture and how the information that I give you will translate. So I'm almost kind of using that you guys as guinea pigs for like the information that I provide and how I provide it to see how your success flows from it. And like, obviously nothing is an overnight thing. Like we all have structure that we want to incorporate, but I know that I can help with that. So I hope that today's session was helpful. I wanted to be able to check in, see where we're at, see those like potential pain points, and then kind of like smooth that thought process out so that you don't have all of these like lingering should I's or all that stuff. Okay, so yeah, we'll do that. Talk about recycling. And then Vanessa and I will work on our thing. Don't think that's going to turn around anytime like super soon because she's super busy. I want a more variety of pigment that's actually ready. So I need to talk. That'll be something we do. I think that's great blog content. You guys, just as a little cute reminder, don't be afraid to jump on with one of your fellow creatives, whether it be design team or not, because I think of it more as not so much accountability buddies, but sometimes your ideas don't come out until you start talking just randomly, like not even on purpose, because now we have this whole plan. First we had content plan and now we have specific plan, and that just happened in a matter of minutes because we were talking about it. So you just watch that come to life, and that's literally how I have my ideas. You just have to start saying it out loud and then they clarify. So brainstorming sessions are priceless. Alina can tell you. Sometimes I'll just talk and she's just like nodding and I'm like, oh, and then and she's just nodding and then she'll give me like a sentence like, but what if you do this? And I'm like, oh, that really, really provokes my thoughts. Anyway, I'm just kidding. She doesn't only nod. She brainstorms with me. But yeah, having a person to do that with is really helpful. So if you guys want to, we have 8 people. I could give you guys like basically mini masterminds. If you do want to meet more than that, you can let Alina know or myself know now, if you just know that's something you're interested in. And then I could group like 3 of you together. I guess that would be.
Yes.
Yeah, if you want to do that. And then that way, if 3 people aren't available, 2 would be. One of this would be a team.
Time that you want to give me to teach me about me, I'm there.
I love it. So, and actually I like the idea of, Alina, will you make notes of this and then maybe facilitate how this would look? Alina has turned into quite the project manager, which I really appreciate. What if we did this so we could have quarterly, if you guys want to meet, you can determine how often, but I suggest either weekly or bi-weekly. And then after a quarter, I want to rotate and we're going to change the seating arrangements in the classroom. And then you guys are going to have a new group. And that way there's constant flow of ideas. Do you guys feel good about that? Yeah. And you guys can arrange your own schedule. But as far as accountability, I can assign, like, I think bi-weekly is good. Do you guys feel good about meeting up with a few people and design team every other week? Just to, get your ideas out and get people's feedback. It's just nice to kind of throw it through and then help generate ideas, because we get stuck in our heads sometimes. If you're not interested in doing that, that's okay too. You can just like message Alina and just be like, hey, I'm too busy for a mini masterminds thing. And then we just won't put you in and we won't say who it is. They didn't want to, because you'll never actually know. And then we can talk about the stuff that you guys talk about as well. But I plan on having these calls be pretty direct and focused. So that'll just be kind of for yourselves, which is always really helpful. Okay, cool. Alina will follow up with you guys about all of that and arrange groupings and pairings and schedules, because she's really good at that. And it comes easy for her. And we all have our skills and our traits and our strong points. And then others have different strong points that aren't those things. So thank you, Alina.
And just so you guys, no problem. Just so you guys know, I'm just scheduling the next design team catch up for the 1st of July, same time. So hopefully that works for everyone.
Perfect. Great. Any lingering questions before? Teresa, what?
I'll be in Vegas.
You'll be in Vegas? Well, sorry.
Oh, well, look at you.
Looks like you're gonna.
I will.
So
I will also be gone.
Okay, so that won't work. Or maybe, I don't know. Alina can figure it out. Hey, sorry.
It's totally fine.
Listen, you can talk about later. I want to just really quickly, I forgot one more thing I wanted to ask you guys. I think I've asked you all individually. I think I have, but, and you're not required to do this, but we're all familiar with Summer Workshop Retreat and what's going on there. Yes. Shannon. Yes. Okay, cool. Are we all participating, I think? Yeah.
Did you need us to resend another headshot?
No. That was sent to 100 people.
I wanted to make sure. I was like, I don't want to send you guys more stuff.
No, I don't need your guys' bios or headshots or social handles. I just need the agreement, the title of your session. Oh, and I did forget to ask, and Alina knows, sorry, as people are sending in information, she's going to have to respond to all of them. But basically, I need a materials list also. So I forgot to put that in for what your session will be. And that's it. Not all that other stuff, because I already have it from you. And then videos come in July. Yes. Doriana.
I don't know what to do as a class.
No, it's just think of it like a tutorial. Just think of it like a blog tutorial. Like that's it. Don't think of it as like a class, because they're basically just like they're called, workshops or classes. All these words are interchangeable. It's just a tutorial that you sit down and have fun. You could do something on Procreate and just make it, no pressure. Same style is what we're doing. But you guys, for the record, to dive in, sorry if you guys are short on time and have to leave. I know we're over time, but I'm just going to go over this really quickly with you directly, because that way you know what to expect. But basically, the way that it's structured is it's free for everybody. So people will be able to register for workshop week. They just register one time. It's not to individual workshops or anything. They will then get the link for the live stream, which will be live first 2 weeks of August. Now, on the, oh, thanks. Alina says, we're still on time because I booked 2 hours. So we still have 20 minutes. Ha 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 ha. Thank you. She knows that I always go over. She told me 90 minutes. You told me 90 minutes, you little liar. That's like when people are like, show up at 5.
Now you're going over.
It's like people say show up at 5, and then I show up at like 5:40, and they're like, I knew you'd be late. It actually doesn't start till 6. So look at how early you are. This is what you can help me with. And I'm like, great. I'm like notoriously, like, I take too long for things and I'm always late. You can guarantee I'm always late. Okay, so okay, so that's what it's gonna look like. Now, I'm gonna just show you guys actually what it looks like really quickly. So this site, I just want you to know, is not, I just built it out yesterday. There's a lot of pages that are missing or they are not complete, but this visuals are always really helpful. So I'm gonna show you a visual of what this looks like. Okay, so if people go to summerworkshopretreat.com, it will take you to this page. And, oh, whoops, take you to this page. There we go. So Summer Workshop Retreat will have basically the landing page right here. This is going to be a focus on what will be, just some types of mediums. This is the registration. This will be the countdown. Please do not share that URL because first of all, that's way too much time to give people. We want sense of urgency a little bit. And then, yeah. And then also, I forgot the other thing. It's also not ready. There we go. Some of your instructors, you'll see your pictures come. I was just use the same structure and then see the full lineup. This will be linked to all of the instructors. A little recap on last year, basically, like that was really fun. Instead of 3 days, this time we're doing 2 weeks. Download the full schedule will be right here. And then you'll be able to click on instructors, see everybody's bio, everybody that's, going into that stuff. And then there's going to be, okay, so once somebody, I'll just do this. So test, oops, what happened here? Test, blah, 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 blah at Gmail. Please don't do this to people's opt-ins just to see something because, wow, it's so annoying. Okay, so when people register, it's going to redirect to this page. So it's an automatic soft sell. You need to do nothing based on your referral link because your referral link will take you to the previous page. Once people actually opt in, this is when the permanent vacation comes in. So it's called permanent vacay. They can access it from up here, which is like, oh, curiosity, what's this? But when they opt in, they will also be taken to this page. So basically it's impossible for people to show up live for 2 weeks of workshops, but we're offering it for $99 for over 100 classes, which is under $1 a workshop. So why wouldn't somebody want to do that? But then when that happens and somebody wants to buy that from your referral link, you're going to get 50% commission. After that, which these probably will sell, they're not going to sell as quickly as this one does for the soft sell, but there will be full access during retreat. And then there will be, and actually I bet this one would, because it's only $1.50 a class, and then people can catch everything. Because once they're in, they're like, oh, I want to see more, but I can't, blah, blah, blah. And then full access afterwards is still a screaming deal for $3.79. It's let me in, and they can buy that, but it's automatically tracked from your unique URLs. We'll get all those affiliate links out shortly. And then if somebody were to click on permanent vacay, it's the same page, except it just is permanent vacation. So it's telling you what it is. So it's really, really straightforward. There's not a lot of information going on in there. Because we just want it to be quick and easy, a free event for people, a soft upsell that we don't even need to promote. To put it in perspective, there's one that I am working on right now with Becca, the Happy Ever Crafter, and she is doing the same format. She only has 38 instructors, 36, something like that. $49 for Vault, and they've already done, I don't know if I can say what they have done. Basically, like, I have made off of an email just for my unique URL, like near $2,000 already. And that's just because people are odd. I haven't mentioned she has the Vault. I haven't mentioned it at all. I've just said, sign up for this free thing. It sells itself. So you don't have to be salesy. This is this really fun event with the community. I'm so excited. I can't wait. And then you leave it on them if they want that. Okay. So the point of this is to get the community together, but then also have this option to where it's like everybody wins and we're not working for no reason. It's never for no reason, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just a little added, like, okay, and I'm making a little bit of money off of this. Which is also nice. And our price is double that. So just because of how many people are involved, which I'm insane, but it's okay. 100 people. I think there's going to be over 100. I'm not sure. I didn't even know I knew that many people. It's fine. It's like, no wonder I don't respond to anybody ever. Ever. Okay. So does that sound good? Does that sound clear? Everybody feel good about that? You're just going to get one special URL. One thing I will say is, when you get that URL, use the actual URL that we give you, not the one that then opens up in the browser once it's clicked. Because sometimes you'll like test it and see what it looks like, and then copy that web address. Don't use that web address. Use the one I give you so that it can be tracked when you give it to other people, because cookies are weird. Okay, any questions on anything we went over today?
Could we have like a private Facebook group or something like that where we could bounce ideas off each other?
Yes.
I prefer Instagram.
Huh?
I don't ever go on Facebook. Can we have like an Instagram chat instead? Is that okay?
Wow. We've got demands over here from Teresa.
I know. Or like Slack or something.
I don't have Facebook because it's gross.
Wow.
I don't have Facebook either. Just want to throw that out there too.
You guys can have one. I just can't be there.
Hold on, I'm just looking.
Do a chat group on Instagram.
Yeah. What about Slack or Instagram?
Well, I was looking up Slack. I want to see how many users I can have. Will you look into that, Alina, and see how many users I can have on my free Slack account? Because I'm not going to pay for Slack because I pay for too many things. I'm a very lean business owner, so everybody knows. I want to make sure that... Oh, it says you can use the free version of Slack for as long as you'd like, and there's no limit to the number of members who can be invited. I'm going to look into that because Slack makes the most sense, don't you think?
Is that an app?
Yeah, so I'll show you what it looks like. I'll pull up a chat that doesn't exist. Okay, so it looks like this. And basically, so you have the team members right here. You can direct message, but then there's also channels that you can talk to everybody. I'll just show you what Skillshares looks like real quick. So basically, like they're general and they go over all their info. It can be searched. They have different channels like, okay, this is relative to marketing, this is mentorship, planning and production. This is where we talk about gear, product feedback. Clearly I don't. All these are like, you haven't read anything, because I don't. And then direct messaging. So my channel just has like my direct team. Clearly Laura, I don't talk to her on here because she's in my house. But Alina, my video editor, and then that's what it looks like. So basically channels, like in general, my brand guide's here, but we could have a design team channel. So yeah, I think that we can just add everybody if you guys want that. And then you guys can chat right there. You don't have to use the version of the app. I think you can use it on a web browser, but it's really nice because I'll show you my whole screen and what that looks like. Wait, where is it? Desktop. Okay. So do you see, I'm going to go really big with this, but this icon at the bottom, it just is a little app that pulls that up. And then they have it on the phone too. You can download. And it's just easy. It's like texting a whole group or DMing a whole group, but then you can app people, upload files, and you on your own Slack can generate, like if you use Asana or Zoom, if you're talking to somebody directly, you can just say /Zoom, like, oh, let's jump on a call real quick. And you just say /Zoom. If it's integrated into your Slack, then that person can you both can click that link and then it pulls up a call for you. You don't have to like go into Zoom and do anything. It's really, really like the best for teams. And I actually asked Alina when we first started, I'm like, should I make a design team thing on Slack? And she's like, we don't need one, but it sounds like this would be really helpful. So for you guys, especially. So I don't see why not. I think that sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah, we can get that set up.
Cool. All right. So we'll send that out today. Just making commitments over here. Okay, cool. So thank you guys so much for jumping in. I hope that this was helpful and also clear stuff up. We have neat ideas coming up. And then I will work on focus on creating something that can then be edited very easily, because we're not going to go through it's not like a deep dive, but I will show you guys the basics. And then if you want to know something else, I just don't want to bombard you with information right away. Like, okay, we went over the basics. Now we're going to do this and this and this. And you're like, wait, this is too much. This is too much. A lot of it is just practice and doing it. But in the meantime, if you're on Skillshare and you use Premiere or you have access to Premiere, I super recommend watching Jordy's class. All you have to look up is Premiere Pro and you'll see his class. He has a lot of them, but you'll see like the basic, like the first one, you'll see it. And it's a good one. So
does he only do Premiere or does he do other ones?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm going to look real quick, actually. I'm not signed in. Oh yeah, that's right.
Why would I need Premiere?
You wouldn't. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't know the capabilities of iMovie right now. I'm going to find out because I'll be doing a deep dive into it for this course that I'm building, because so many people use iMovie, have access to iMovie. It's free with Mac. When I switched over, it was because I wanted to be able to stack a lot of stuff into one layer, essentially. So for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, you have like a video layer and then an audio layer. I wanted to be able to stack like video on video or picture in picture, text, effects, all this stuff, so that my layers ended up looking pretty long. And then audio, like sometimes there's music involved, sometimes there's sound effects. Like I just wanted the ability to do all of this, and I didn't have that ability in iMovie. I remember, I don't know if that's how it works anymore. They might have upped their game there and have the ability to layer more. The biggest thing was, oh, and this might help you guys actually, if you ever want to record your screen, that was the biggest switch for me. I needed to record my screen. I did not realize that QuickTime could do this. And so I went to ScreenFlow. Never buy ScreenFlow. I can talk to you guys about it later. Actually, I have time, so I'll just tell you why. You buy the program, and then every time there's an update on your computer, like your operating system, the thing will crash and crash and crash. And I wasn't realizing why it was happening. I talked to their customer service, and they're like, oh, you have to update to the newest version. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I tried doing that even after logging in. It's trying to charge me like $49 or something. And she's like, right, that's the update. And I'm like, I paid for this. It was a one-time fee, and you are charging half of that price for updating every time the operating system updates. Like, if you need to cover that cost of your code, you should charge more for your program or make it a subscription. This is a hardcore bait and switch. And I am so okay telling everybody not to buy ScreenFlow, because I'm like, that's terrible bait and switch. Even if you go in knowing that, and it's actually a really, like, it's a very low price. Even so, they just don't make that clear. And I'm not into that kind of business practice. Sorry. So, after that, when I was like, okay, well, how else can I record my screen and put like talking head, demo, and screen in a video? And I didn't realize that QuickTime does it. You legit just open QuickTime and you can toggle over to screen recording. And then you can choose the portion of the screen that you record, and there it is. And I was just like, wow, this is mind blowing. And I had no idea. And so a lot of people don't know that. I didn't know that. So you do that. You can also record audio only on QuickTime. So if you're rewatching a video and you have a good mic, you can just audio record, or you could do video recording if you have a good webcam.
You can also connect your cell phone or your iPad, and you can screen record from it, or only grab audio from those devices.
Yeah, and for those who don't know this, I'm going to try to do this backwards, but you know, when you go down to screen record your phone, where is it? This one right here, and you record it and the audio doesn't pick up, just do a long hold, and then you can toggle microphone on and then record, and you say start recording, and then it will record your voice. So a lot of people didn't know that either, and that's how the voice picks up. You can do it on an iPad also, and what I will say is the mic on iPad and iPhone are surprisingly good. I was worried about that because I was filming a segment directly on my iPad, and I was like, I never do this. It's usually like camera over this, but like I don't have that available to me right now. And I was really impressed actually with the audio quality. So just as an FYI. Yeah. Oh, so that's the reason why I switched to Premiere, was just for more added whatever. Is it necessary? Absolutely not. But I was doing it for, I don't know what purposes, but that's what I do, is video content. Eventually, it's one of those things, like if you get heavily into something and then you find out you want more features, like that's how you know it's time to grow. It's not something that I'm like, oh, you need Premiere. No, you do not. In fact, DaVinci, I need to do a deep dive there, because that keeps coming up more and more and more and more, and people are really happy with it. And then the other one, you guys, let's say you film on your phone, you have a big trip to take. This happened to me. But you have a deadline that you've set for yourself on creating a, whatever it is that you want to do. The app called Perfect Video, like, let me see if I can share app. Where is it? The app called Perfect Video is so good. I mean, it's on your phone, so it's little and it's hard to whatever. For some reason, it's not letting me get the link. Like I pressed it and it's not letting me, but this is the icon for it. It's that one right there, perfect video. And I've edited full classes on it. You can add text, you can add like cross dissolves, you can speed up, slow down, add, it's kind of like, wow, that's an app and it's free. Okay. I think it's free. Oh, I have Pro, but I mean, whatever. It's probably like $2 or $5. Like it's worth buying. Another thing that I really like, now I don't want you guys to do this like as little as possible, but let's say you have a lot of information that you want to give and you have talking head. This isn't really applicable for the pigeon letters, but if you have anything like this, there's an app called Teleprompter Pro, and this is what the icon looks like. But it's nice if you're good at going over your script organically without it sounding like you're reading. Please do your best, okay? And if something's going too fast or too slow, elaborate on your point and then pause and just like reverse, change the speed. You can edit that part out, but you want to just come across how, if you're good at this, it's something I wouldn't recommend for a really long time, but this is what it looks like. So you see your face, you see everything. So you guys are right there, but your script, you can choose how wide it is, but your camera is just right here. And so when this is going and it's an auto scroll and it's according to the speed that you choose, it's so nice because you've written everything you want to say and then you can say it. It's just what I would recommend doing is really practicing reading teleprompter, because if you don't have that casual speaking voice when you're reading, like it's so obvious and nobody wants to listen to something that's so scripted. Another app that I really like for phones is Ultralight. It's a video editing one and it's just for lighting, and it's so good at brightening videos with contrast and not so like Perfect Video has adjustments, but as far as like good adjustments where it doesn't look blown out and things don't look like foggy or whatever, it's really good for that. So for instance, let's say you create something that's like, it might not have a voice or anything. You're like recording it on your phone. It's going to be like content for social media or whatever it is. If you plug it into Ultralight, you'll be able to adjust that lighting and not have to worry about doing a whole bunch of other stuff. It's just really handy. So those 3 apps are great if you're doing video on your phone. I wouldn't really do any of these other ones. Yeah. So I hope that helps a little bit. Because I have edited full classes on my phone in Bend. And I even did voiceover actually, I believe. Yeah, I did it. That's what it was. I was doing voiceover. Oh, now I'm over time. Okay. In Perfect Video in a garage underneath this big taxidermy bear. And I hated that moment so much. I hated it. I just don't like taxidermy. It's just, I don't like it. Get it away from me. Oh, and the only reason I had to be under the bear was because on the other side, there was this giant spider. And like, I'm not going to sit there and do voiceovers in this quiet garage with a spider. It's just like, you do what you can. Okay. So there are ways to work around everything. I'm here to help you. Okay. I will let you guys go. Thank you so much for showing up, for being here, for your investment in sharing what you love doing. And then you guys can jump off and conclude unless anybody has questions, and I'm here to answer them. Nay?
Alina, I forgot to give you the materials list and the folder for the video. So I'm going to do that in about an hour after I go pick up.
Okay, no problem. I haven't gotten around to yours yet. I was going to do that over the weekend. So you've got time.
Okay, perfect. So I'll have that to you today.
Perfect. Thank you.
And I'm so sorry for coming in late. I'm so sorry about that.
We've all been judging you ever since you came in. It was like, oh,
that's what we've been talking about for the first 30 minutes, Leanne. Just so you know.
I know. I'm so sorry. Please.
Just an FYI, I'm stopping recording for rewatch.